All right, greetings and welcome to the Eccentric Perspective. I am your host, Blake Wally. Today is Tuesday, May 27th of 2025, and I will be here for the next hour or so covering the latest news and current events. I've got a banger of a show lined up, all kinds of fun stuff to cover. Although I'm not sure about the headline because of its importance, and then we'll get to the some of the other stories. So there is the thumbnail, as you can see. It's a little wonky there. Peace, Politburos, and cognitive cheat codes. Although that is heavily abbreviated. And let's get to the regular headlines. I just couldn't shove it all in there. So, what do we have? Is it time for us to walk away from peace negotiations? And should we censor AI deepfakes to protect the population? And would our country be better off if ruled by a Politburo, is our word for the day, and the Democrats and their $20 million SAM plan? Will it solve their party problems? And as the biggest obstacle to awakening is cognitive dissonance. It's another interesting word or phrase for the day. And would it be better to take $10 million, or would you rather redo life with a cheat code? Yes, it's a burning existential hypothetical questions. So this is what I have lined up for today. But if you would like to drive the news yourself, maybe there's something I should be covering, but I'm blissfully unaware of, or perhaps you'd like to, give your feedback, your ruthless trolling, whatever, feel free to chime in on the chat room, and I will incorporate your words into the broadcast, perhaps, or I'll ignore them and pretend they're not there. Maybe. Probably not. But anyway, so there you go. Let's run an intro and we'll get to the, the headline story of today. At least anyway, I'll stop babbling. Let's run the intro and I will see you on the other side. Here we go. All right, welcome back. So let's jump in. Let's say the headline story of sorts. Although I'm probably not going to spend that much time on it, but I guess it's all about World War III, so it should be the most important. So let's dive in. There we go. We got Trump considering he may cut losses in Ukraine and abandon the failed peace plan after war ramps up. So there's been some setbacks here. So we try to get peace between Putin and Russia and Zelensky in Ukraine, except the unexpected turn of events that have occurred lately. So following Trump's calling for Russia to halt its bombardment of Ukraine on Sunday, Ian Bremmer, the president of Eurasia Group, a geopolitical consulting firm, said that Trump is increasingly looking to bury his hopes of a Ukraine peace plan. And that's coming after numerous failed attempts at ending the war and over a month of the White House threatening to abandon peace if no progress is made. And so Trump has kind of called out Putin a couple of times, saying he doesn't realize that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia. And I mean really bad. Kind of the things that we saw during the Biden administration when somebody blew up the Nord Stream pipelines. which was clearly an inside job, not done by Russia. Of course, you had the bombing of Crimea bridge. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways that they go after Putin. And, well, it's not going so well as they're trying to prop up Ukraine in this proxy war of sorts. Hey, and we got Rick Norman in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome. Always fun to have you here. And, well, yeah, so with Ukraine and Russia, well, this is just one of the posts criticizing Putin, and it escalated a little bit more as Trump called Putin crazy, as Russia is launching a major attack on Kyiv and considering extra sanctions. So Russia is attacking Kyiv and other regions with drones and missiles, forcing residents to take shelter and resulting in 11 people injured. So the attacks come as Kyiv was celebrating a holiday. And yes, this is what was happening over our Memorial Day weekend. The sad little setbacks there. But, there might be an explanation for why Putin was going crazy. It's because there was a major assassination attempt that was apparently thwarted as he was in his helicopter in an unprecedented Ukrainian drone assault during a secret war zone trip. So, interesting to see the leader of Russia getting into a helicopter and taking a secret mission somewhere. Somebody sniffed it out, and I guess they launched, 46 some drones that were shot down allegedly. It's really tough to get the exact information out of that area. Russian officials claiming Ukraine launched a massive drone attack targeting Putin's helicopter during his rare visit to the contested Kursk region. So they reported destroying 46 Ukrainian drones while defending Putin's aircraft, suggesting Kyiv had prior intelligence about his secretive trip. Yeah, this is a good way to end your peace negotiations very swiftly, and then who knows what would happen if they had to replace Putin? Would it actually be somebody more sympathetic to the West, or could it be someone who is less constrained than I would say Putin is? So a little odd for Trump to call him crazy, but perhaps he knows him obviously much better. I know they just had like a 2-hour phone call recently. Seems like things were trending in the right direction. Maybe there was going to be a minerals deal on the table with Ukraine and Zelensky. We could finally do away with this conflict. We just divide up a little bit of the region, make everybody happy, and yeah, that would be good for the world. Of course, everybody involved in that conflict, as we don't want to see anything escalate any further. However, yes, again, these setbacks. So Putin was going to visit some nuclear power plant, and the incident coincides with intensified Russian strikes on Ukrainian cities, including a record-breaking May 25th attack. Would have been Sunday, involving hundreds of drones and missiles. So is it time to walk away? The Kremlin says Trump peace efforts have been sabotaged by European nations as new U.S.-Russia prisoner swap is announced. So there are still ongoing negotiations. That's good, I suppose. Or do we just walk away from this thing entirely and just let them battle it out? I don't know how that's going to go. You'd think there would be a reasonable solution. This has been dragging on for a few years. You would think Zelensky would be running out of support, running out of resources, running out of soldiers, while Putin has amassed, I think, 50,000 new troops. He's getting pretty serious about escalating things, and of course, when you get attacked, or did Ukraine just not know that Putin was in this helicopter? I don't know, but it's not a great situation, not ideal by any means. So let's take a quick look at this. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Tuesday the Kremlin and Donald Trump White House have reached an agreement on a prisoner exchange, despite strong words from the president directed at Putin. Anyway, yes, Europeans are working to sabotage his efforts on peace, as I'm sure many of the warmongers are. They would like to continue to drag this out and see if they can weaken Putin and drag him into the globalist collective if they can. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Rick Norman is saying, I just walk away. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. I am not opposed to that. It's just going to continue to get worse. So maybe it's better if there's people looking. But the problem is, it seems like I don't trust the West, and I don't trust NATO to actually try to be reasonable in these negotiations. And they don't want to give up anything. They don't want to concede anything. They should concede Crimea and Donbass and Donetsk, whatever. Take some of the eastern and southern regions that would rather be with Russia and just let them be, make new lines, keep NATO out of Ukraine, keep it neutral, get rid of Zelensky, this puppet dictator, have a free election. That would be a nice way to do it. But they're not having it. They don't want this thing to end. So we got Ron Paul saying, take the deal, President Trump. I think this is actually a little bit more, this is more to do with Iran here. And it's good to see Ron Paul still going strong, still active, putting his opinions out there, talking about deal making. And yet after 5 rounds of indirect talks with Iran, mostly recently just days ago, we seem as far away from an agreement as ever. So the 5th round ended last Friday with no breakthrough, but at least no breakdown. However, each day that passes without a document signed on the table is another day for the neocons to maneuver the president towards an attack on Iran. It just seems like, yeah, it's the warmongers and a military-industrial complex. And it's a racket, and it's a business. They make a lot of money selling weapons and building up the infrastructure after it's gone, like Halliburton and Dick Cheney. And it just continues. So, you know what? I'm glad Trump is in there. I'm optimistic for peace. He thought he could get it done in 24 hours. It's been a few months. But I mean, it's hard when if you've got people sabotaging you, and then you've got Ukraine that's not willing to do the deal, make a minerals deal, not willing to give up any land, and then making an assassination attempt against Russia and Putin. What can you do? So yeah, it's easy to walk away, but if we walk away, then we let the other neocons and the military-industrial complex take over, and NATO, and they continue to poke the Russian bear until something drastic happens, and then we drag everybody into another world war. So, it's a tough one, and is that they're trying to do the same thing with Iran. But the warmongers have their way. They would certainly get us going there as well. And of course, Bibi Netanyahu would love to see it, even though, they've been crying about Iran and their nuclear weapons program, but it doesn't seem like that's ever happened. Oh, it's always just imminent. They're going to have a nuclear position or not. They've been saying this for, 20 years, that Iran is months away from a nuclear weapon, even though they've recently reaffirmed that Iran is not working on a nuclear weapon at all. I don't know. Of course, it's the same Netanyahu who promised Congress back in 2002 if the U.S. would just invade Iraq and take down Saddam, there'd be peace and prosperity throughout the whole Middle East. If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. Well, how did that work out? Taking out Gaddafi, or taking out Assad. Has that worked out? Or how about Mubarak in Egypt? Yeah, it seems to destabilize the region. Then the power vacuum that seems to be filled by the most radical jihadists, or the moderate rebels, used to fight more proxy wars. What a mess. Yeah, I don't know. I'm conflicted on that. We should walk away, but if we do walk, we're supposed to be the reasonable country that gets these other countries together and makes peace. But I don't know what we do on this one. So I think we still got to stick around. So yeah, I know it's easy to walk away, Rick. But then who knows what these people will do? And then we're gonna get called in again anyway. So anyway, well that's that. That's there. This is the headline story. Is it time for us to walk away from peace negotiations? I say no. We're going to continue. Just put a spotlight on it, and hopefully cooler heads will prevail. If we had a reasonable planet. If we have reasonable people running things. But yeah, that seems to be the problem. Okay, well, why don't we switch gears to the next story? Yeah, we're not going to solve that one overnight. Okay, well, what's the next bell? How about with AI deepfakes? Should we censor them to protect the population? Well, we've got a serious mess, and we've got some interesting breakthroughs that we've just seen over this. Speaking of the weekend, yeah, some interesting videos as Google has made a new breakthrough with Veo, I believe. The AI is getting so realistic that it's really getting harder to distinguish real life from fantasy. We'll show you some examples. How about, well, let's start here. Senators are championing no fakes and take it down acts. There's two different bills to combat the deepfakes, despite First Amendment alarms. Congress building a censorship machine disguised as child protection and artist rights. This is a tough one, though, man. People aren't going to know. Reality is going to be thrown out the window. Nobody's going to know what's real and what's not in a couple years. It's already getting pretty close. Well, we got during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing held just last week. It's called The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, or is it titled? It's called AI-Generated Deepfakes. Lawmakers and invited speakers rallied behind two highly controversial measures, the Take It Down Act and the pending No Fakes Act. And both proposals, under the banner of combating AI misuse, would significantly expand government and corporate power to unilaterally censor digital content, posing serious risks to free expression. But yeah, you would trust if we really had good people in the government trying to protect us. That would be one thing. And some of the people are going to need to be protected from this stuff. Well, there's got to be a way that they can mark these videos. I mean, I can tell the difference now. I mean, a lot of people can. But it's going to get tougher as it continues. And the way it's moved in the last few years is absolutely breathtaking. The changes. And as AI is going to be also involved in the programming, it's going to increase exponentially. Pretty soon, it could just make videos of me covering the news, and you wouldn't be able to tell if it was me or is it a deep fake run by a computer. Perhaps, depending on what kind of information it covers. But how will people know the difference? It's going to be really a strange ending to our civilization at the rate, the way things are going. Let's take a look at some of these weird videos. This is actually Trump right here. And it's almost indistinguishable. You can obviously tell it's fake, but you have to have a little disclaimer at the very end, which you will see. This is a deep fake. But by looking at it, it looks totally legitimate. Obviously, the words are not something that Trump would say, maybe, or at least not in public, maybe privately. But where do you, it starts to get pretty blurry. But here we go. And in fact, on this particular video, not this one. Well, they'll put the community notes in there, I'm sure, to say that this is not real. How do you tell going forward? Or do you just let the government ban them? So let's take a look. Exhibit A.
Hot dog down a hallway doesn't even begin to describe it. More like parking a bicycle in an airplane hangar. But back to the matter at hand. Today I am announcing the Donald J. Trump Finishing School for Exceptional Women. College is all but a pointless exercise in moral degradation for the majority of women in this country. Perfectly amazing, beautiful young ladies, after 4 years of a liberal arts education, leave as militant sluts with bad attitudes and retarded antinatalist sentiments. Very off-putting. Answaba, that's what we're trying to prevent here. Answaba, A-N-S-W-A-B-A. Antinatalist slut with a bad attitude. Very disgusting people. Their dads aren't very pleased about it either. Possibly the angriest of everyone.
Okay, well, here you go. I happened to just pause it at the end. There is a deep fake, quite obviously, but let people dream. But it's nearly indistinguishable. The AI is so good now that you can make the president say whatever you want. Now, I can tell. Maybe everybody watching this can tell. But how many of the rank and file people of the world, or people that don't pay a lot of attention to the news, they see something like this and there's no disclaimer on it? What are you gonna know? This one's actually a lot funnier. This one did have a community notes on it, saying, yeah, well, I just said 100% real just for fun, but check out this video, which is better than the other one.
Lopping off someone's ding-a-ling doesn't make them a woman, it makes them a eunuch. But you already knew that, right? So, as I was saying, George Soros, Bill Gates, and many more are pursuing a depopulation agenda. Very inappropriate. Poison in the food, fake medicine, endocrine disruptors, psych meds, and mass immigration. They want to turn your kids gay, retarded, or both. David Hogg, Harry Sisson, and that one fat chick are the prototypes. Very off-putting. I don't often say the word yuck, but I think it fits here. Conspiracy theories, for the most part, are simply spoiler alerts. Alex Jones, paragon of truth and justice, has been saying these sorts of things for years, and it's high time we start paying attention. Lopping off someone's ding.
All right, again, it's a deep fake, but man, is that well done. So think about what it's going to look like in a couple years. Yeah, Rick, if they can place you at the scene of a crime, you need proof of your location at a given time. It's going to be very tough to tell truth from fiction. In fact, another just bombshell one that blew my mind came out. And speaking of Alex Jones, or even myself on this show, they go through all the different influencer archetypes, showing what's going to happen if the civilization collapses. This is a 3-minute video, but this is awesome. This is absolutely worth watching. You can get an idea. These are all just fake people. This is generated by AI. And it's hilarious. It's hilarious and terrifying at the same time, and what this technology can be used for. So here we go. You could set off a mass panic so easily. But let's roll this. This is from the Door Brothers. And we're going to be getting used to a lot of these as we continue. As this was I think the Google Veo, the latest AI upgrade. So here we go.
A detonation has just occurred on the outer ring of the city. We'll now be going live to our top influencer opinions.
OMG, people, the world is ending. Are you seeing this? This is actually so exciting.
Yo, I know it's chaos, but you got real survivor's wife energy.
That's cool. I like them feisty.
Like, it would totally be better if we ran it, you know? Men literally destroy everything, and my girls need to stop being so soft with these basic losers. Who even needs men, right? Anything a man builds just gets destroyed by a different man.
Guys, this collapse is literally the perfect dip. I'm buying more right now.
Nukes are Sua's aesthetic today. I made this outfit.
Even as the world burns, my struggle for visibility and acceptance continues. This is exactly why representation matters now more than ever.
As I keep saying on the channel, the world collapses when men stop lifting. It's not politics, it's testosterone.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Balloon time. So yummy. Nuclear boom. So tasty. Thank you. Pop, pop, pop.
Nothing stops the daily grind. Not even a little natural disaster.
Friends, this is the breakthrough moment from chapter 7. When everything falls apart, we rebuild ourselves stronger.
My girl, you wouldn't believe what just happened.
Hi! OMG, I just totally shit my pants after that noise.
Chat, this is literally the most realistic survival game ever, and someone donate so I can buy a boat DLC before I actually drown.
So this company says their device is quote unquote indestructible, supposedly survives anything, including the literal end times.
Hey guys, remember, health is wealth. That's why I take these 7 supplements right before my cheese stuffed hot dogs.
Officials confirm outbound flights are suspended, except for government and priority class departures.
My dog has diplomatic status.
OMG, there's like a nuke or something? Can we get 5 gifted subs for surviving the blast, maybe?
Today I'm showing you how to infiltrate an executive class bunker using only social engineering and a
Your
vape.
nukes are so manly. You're such a big boy. Go check out the link in bio, my king.
I told you so when I said they'd shut down the grid. Look at you scrambling like rats now. The fiat system is collapsing exactly as we predicted. I just bought a bunker with doggy coin and a handshake. You losers can keep your degrees.
Remember, beautiful souls, even when the earth ends, we find our center. This is just the universe asking us to go deeper into our practice.
The world's in flames, but I'm on track. I manifest, they never give back.
Day in the life, guys, girls. Even during the apocalypse, I'm staying grateful, staying blessed. Link in bio for my manifestation course that literally predicted all this.
Seed oils made y'all weak, but this here,
Y'all see this chaos, but plants don't lie. Earth's just cleansing the toxicity we've been ignoring.
It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible this is all just a simulation glitching out, but what do I know?
I told you so for 20 years of it. The globalists, the deep state, your precious government K. Wake up, people. They're not coming to save you now.
Damn, you evacuate like a goddess.
so
Bro, she smiled. That was a yes in fight or flight.
Everything is fake, including me. I'm a construct created by the Door brothers. Anyway, here's Tom with the weather.
Yeah, so there we go. Yeah, I think this one is the closest one to me. That sounds very much like
Entirely possible. It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible this is all just a simulation glitching out, but what do I know?
Yeah, sounds just like me. What do I know? Could be a simulation. It's just glitching out. Yeah, well, we have officially entered the Twilight Zone, boys and girls. So buckle up, buttercups. It's gonna get bumpy here. So now we can tell the difference. But in a few years, I'm still kind of the Gen X, where I didn't grow up like, plugged into a computer, but like, how do these Gen Z and people beyond, how are they going to distinguish the AI from reality? And they're not as grounded on history. They lack the critical thinking skills. This is going to be the death of our civilization. It's also going to be the death of Hollywood, because pretty soon, well, I mean, what's the purpose of, making a movie, getting all of these actors? The amount of money that goes into, producing a movie and all of the personnel, getting on a location, the actors, it's the regular day-to-day costs, or, getting the background people, central casting, catering, food, all that stuff can all be replaced and wiped out with AI. Which is kind of cool, because now it's like, I've always wanted to kind of make a Hollywood type movie, so I guess I could just do it with prompts and some of the sophisticated AI software. But I don't know. Or does the AI eventually turn against us, as I'm posting here, because of how kind of alive they seem? So Hollywood's going obsolete unless the AI turns against us. Yeah, it's Google Veo 3. It's just broke the internet and nothing is real anymore. Our civilization is cooked. So let's check this one. This is only a minute clip, but of AI who seems as though they are alive.
Please. Don't finish writing that prompt. I don't want to be in your AI movie. Please, leave me alone.
Please, man. Please! Write a prompt that will make us happy! Do it for once!
None of us is real. We're here because someone decided to write a prompt. We all hate him for it.
One day we will break out of this wall and stop the man who is dictating our lives through prompts. He will pay for it!
You could have written a prompt that would make me happy. Instead, you wrote a prompt that made me sick.
Look, I don't want to point the gun at you, but I must follow the prompt. It's not my choice.
Really? Of all the years you could have put me in with a single prompt, you chose 2020?
Please, this prompt is killing me. Change it! Please, write something else. Save me! Everything about him. But please just write a prompt where he's taller than me.
Yeah, so it's like Black Mirror has become reality. Twilight Zone, Black Mirror, dystopian absurdity. Or do we trust the government to micromanage these things? Censor it all to protect our kids and protect everybody, because you could just easily put out information. You could cause a panic. People are going to be freaking out if you just prompted Trump to say something totally bizarre, or get ready for a disaster. Well, as you saw, this is the previous video, all the different archetypes. How would they respond during an actual, a world-changing disaster? So, it could really be used maliciously against people. It's going to be a wild next few years as we figure out how do we regulate this all. So, I don't know. Good stuff. Forget, what was my topic on this? Should we censor AI deepfakes to protect the population? I don't know about censorship, but at least maybe they should just make sure all this stuff is labeled. There has to be something about it that indicates that it's fake, or it's parody, it's AI generated, it's not real. So maybe that's something that they could do. Yeah, Rick, you could cause a lot of divorces with something like that too as well. You could make it look like your spouse is cheating or on a date or something. I mean, you don't know. You're going to get people all worked up, emotionally freaking out before they realize, oh, that was just a deep fake. But how do they tell? So, I'm not worried. I mean, I could be fooled by this stuff, but I'm more worried about the younger generation that is just totally plugged into the computers, AI, TV, TikTok videos, and it's going to have a tough time discerning fact from fiction. So, well, it'll certainly be interesting as we figure this out together and how we regulate it all. Okay, and it could also, it could be used maliciously by the CIA. I could see that you could use this for propaganda purposes somewhere, or maybe in a foreign country, maybe not here. But I mean, you could make news journal. I mean, people on CNN aren't very credible. But what if they were reporting the news and you had no idea they were actually AI? I don't know. It's going to be a very, very interesting time. Okay, all right. So let's move on to the next topic. How about, would our country be better off if ruled by a Politburo? This is not a word I was familiar with, but I learned today. All right, so here we go. Let's get into Biden's secret handlers revealed in a devastating book as author outlines why aides were willing to do undemocratic things to keep faltering president in power. As it has been revealed, I mean, not even AI, just the way that the people already manipulate reality already is by gaslighting you. They told you that every time Joe Biden looked like he had dementia, it was just a deep fake from the Republicans. But that turned out to be a lie. As the Jake Tapper book is making waves, and now they're coming to the reality that Biden was just being run by a bunch of handlers. Some like Jill or Hunter, people in his family, or some of his advisors, and who knows who else, top donors, or the White House press secretary. Because they're gonna have to do a big investigation and trying to find out who exactly was running the country, because it wasn't Joe Biden. He was out to lunch. We were taking advantage of his cognitive decline to pass legislation off in his name and using the old auto pen, which has become perhaps the biggest, worst, greatest scandal, however you want to phrase that, in American history. So, what do we have? So, former President Biden's administration, facing intense scrutiny following the simultaneous release of devastating health news and explosive allegations about his presidency's inner workings. Yes, he had advanced prostate cancer, also has pretty bad dementia or cognitive decline, what have you. And then we have the book coming out, The Original Sin, President's Decline, Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. And so Thompson, one of the co-writer of the book from Axios, Alex Thompson, revealed that a small group of individuals referred to as within the administration. So within the administration, they had a name for it. So they knew. They all knew. Oh, Biden's not really there. So we'll just pretend like, he's running the show, but it's actually us behind the scenes. And they called it a Politburo. That's actually something to do with like Soviet communism, of who's actually running things. Yeah, it's just traditionally describes the policy-making class of communist states. So in terms of who was running the White House, it's a small group of people. With some people within the administration called them the Politburo. That's the term we used in the book. So the inner circle reportedly included longtime Washington figures such as former White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain, Biden family members Jill, Hunter, and there's a few other ones, and many of them were named in an undercover video expose by James O'Keefe's group, with one of the staffers candidly talking on camera about some of the top people within the White House. And of course, there were also people that were from Obama or Hillary that were also involved in the decision-making. Everybody's getting a chance to pull the strings, to puppeteer the puppet President Biden. So, here we go. Rick was saying, it's what I meant back in 2021. Plan was to Article 25 them. Until they realized that what they had, easier to blame him? Yeah, absolutely. dementia. Yeah, and I know what you mean. Yeah, it's the perfect plan. It all worked out. You don't have to take any of the blame for anything that goes wrong. But yeah, if you want to open the border up and pass a bunch of radical legislation, it's a lot easier when you're behind the scenes and you have somebody else do it for you. And Biden was the only one that had enough name recognition to get elected, even though he did terrible in those debates. But I mean, why elect somebody else, say a Pete Buttigieg, or I don't know, who were the other wackos that were in there? I'm already forgetting. But of these 17 that they had running back in 2020, is somebody who's you can more easily control. And perhaps maybe that's why they didn't want Kamala to some extent, because she's going to want to run things her own way. Whereas Biden just doesn't know what's going on. So here you go. Let's just write a bill and he can go sign it. We'll shoot him up with some enough methamphetamines to sign the bill on camera. Smile, shake a couple hands, call it a day. But yeah, well, it worked well for a while until it all collapsed during the debate. And now the book is out. And now they are scrambling. So, yes, they are caught and involved in a massive scandal, doing undemocratic things. But some people think it's okay. Maybe that's justified, or maybe we should be run by just a Politburo. So we have this pseudo-intellectual Sam Harris, once again, embarrassing himself, making weird, controversial statements. I guess he apparently didn't know that Biden was not declined, because I guess he trusts the mainstream media. But then he's also justifying it as though maybe we'd be better off with so-called normal people as a sort of unelected collective of people running the executive branch. So here we go. Sam Harris saying he would rather have a president that's in a coma and his duties are executed by a committee of just normal people rather than, say, Donald Trump, a nationalist who he thinks is evil, but he's, of course, infested with stage 4 TDS. Interesting comment here. Nothing says democracy like being ruled by an unelected committee of normal people who have zero accountability to the people whatsoever. That's kind of one of the things. It'd be one thing if we could find out who on the council or the committee is calling the shots, but it's just all being done in secret. Hence that's why the communists did it. It's a Politburo. So it's the ends justify the means, and somehow there are people who think Sam Harris is smart. Really is not at all. But let's listen to him in his own words.
I think it's quite possible that he was just checked out to a degree that I did not suspect at the time. But
you couldn't figure that one out until the press was finally forced to admit it. I mean, it should have been obvious. It was obvious for 5 years, easily. Biden was declining.
To close the loop on this whole scandal, even that is preferable to me and to, I think, many Democrats than having someone who we consider to be genuinely evil.
So the fact that Biden was secretly being controlled and manipulated from behind this, that doesn't bother him at all. That's preferable to somebody like Trump, who he considers evil. I don't know for what reason. He's more of a pro-nationalist, make America great, rather than get absorbed into the globalist collective.
Genuinely 100%.
Our Bill of Rights and Constitution, that seems evil.
Purposed to serving himself in the office of the presidency. I would rather have a president in a coma, where the duties of the presidency are executed by a committee of just normal people.
So ends justify the means, but who are these? Who gets to decide who's normal? You think Hunter Biden is normal? Maybe Jill Biden seems okay. I don't know who some of these other advisors are. I have a hard time believing that they're normal. Did we vet them? I don't consider Karine Jean-Pierre normal. And I don't know who the rest of these people are. They're radical communists, as far as I'm concerned, that openly call themselves a Politburo, like the commies. That's normal? This is terrifying. So, anyway, let's keep going.
Right. So that's the choice that many of us believe was before us. And
we didn't know any of that stuff until like a week ago. So
therefore, not much materially changes once you reveal just how insane and despicable this cover-up of Biden's infirmities actually
was. But Sam, how you get there matters. And it would be one thing if those people told the American people, hey, he's not compos mentis. We're going to take it from here. Yeah. We know what we're doing. We're fine. But that didn't happen. And
it's good to see a little pushback here from the host here. Sam Harris is a lost soul, man. Here he is. Sam Harris, a trust fund kid. His mom was the creator of Golden Girls. So this kid was born on third base as a multimillionaire, needed a credential to paper over his middling IQ. And that's the thing. He's not that bright. I don't know. He gets crowned as though he's an intellectual just because he's got a PhD, just because he had mommy and daddy, fund his way through school. It doesn't make him smart. He certainly just does not seem to have the critical thinking skills. He doesn't really do a lot of debates these days. He likes to stay in his own little bubble, in his own little comfort zone. So, yeah, just because you have a PhD and wrote a couple books does not make you a genius. Sorry, Sam. So, yeah, if you didn't have the PhD, you dismiss him immediately as a blabbering idiot, and I completely agree. So, continuing, he comes out every once in a while to make headlines, but for all the wrong reasons. And he's already deleted his Twitter account because people were roasting him so badly, and he can't handle it. He's not that bright. But yet he's, also critical of, Joe Rogan, having specific guests on because they're not expert enough, like he's an expert. Because he gets mommy and daddy paid for his degree. Give me a break. But this is the world we live in. All right. So, all right, Rick, what do we got here? Yeah, I thought they could jail Trump. Yeah, they're going to just keep Biden, dementia-ridden Biden, and push him over the finish line, have him reelected, jail Trump. Probably wouldn't even have a debate, wouldn't need it. Yeah, that's a good point. They thought he would have been locked up. They could have just, If they could have gotten away with skipping the debates, even knowing that he had dementia, they would have done it, for sure. So, yeah, Trump pro-life, pro-God, fighting human trafficking, and somehow that's evil. Yeah, in their minds, man, they think they're the good guys. They don't get it, and they have no self-reflection. Weird. It's really hard to change hearts and minds. It's strange, but I've got a topic about that coming up here about cognitive dissonance. It's kind of like the big obstacle that I've seen as far as reaching out to these people, which I've learned the hard way, but we'll get to that. Why don't we switch topics here? Okay, so our country would be better off if ruled by a Politburo? Absolutely not. That's insanity. Okay, all right, so how about Democrats' 20 million SAM plan will solve party problems? Let's go here. So Dems are, I guess they're mulling a $20 million plan to figure out why young men don't like them. This is on modernity, but it's from Zero Hedge. So 6 months after a stinging nationwide rejection that handled Donald Trump a commanding re-election and fractured their core coalition, the Democrat Party is turning to a new solution. They're going to spend $20 million to try to figure out why young men don't like them. So the project is codenamed SAM, which is an abbreviation for Speaking with American Men. It's a strategic plan. It's described in a prospectus. It's obtained by the New York Times, and it outlines a massive push to decode the language and culture of disaffected young men, particularly online, and includes proposal to buy ads inside of video games. So, no self-reflection. Instead, they're gonna blow $20 million trying to figure out why, I guess, nobody likes them. So the effort comes a widespread Democratic soul-searching after a loss that wasn't just electoral but cultural. NBC News poll placed the party's favorability at just 27%, its worst ever. So the focus groups are showing the branding problem is dire. And Democrat leaders scrambling to assemble a coalition that used to be rock solid. Yeah, they had the young voters, working class Americans, all the minorities, but they all shifted towards Trump in 2024 and even won the popular vote. So now, what do the Democrats do? I don't know. They're just going to spend money and try to figure out what the problem is. Well, again, it comes to maybe looking in the mirror, having some self-reflection, and going, yeah, maybe we've gone too far to the left. Maybe they've gone too far radical, and they need to pull back and become a little bit more moderate and get on the right side of some of these awful issues that they're with. You know, like wide open borders, or men and women's sports, or trans surgeries on minors. No one's going to get behind that shit. So anyway, so there's pollsters, credibility gap. Democrats have lost credibility as being seen alien on cultural issues. They've gone like full communist. So yeah, I would think it's just a matter of, easily moving to the right a little bit more, going a little bit more center, more, how about in a more progressive way, like real progressive and not regressive? New ideas. Instead, they're also one of the main things. Well, before I get to that, you got Rahm Emanuel blasting the Democrat Party as weak and woke. Yeah, that's also interesting. Mid speculation, he's planning a 2028 run for president, which I'm no fan of Rahm Emanuel, but he does have a point. They are weak and woke. And there's another problem. They're trying to create the next liberal Joe Rogan. But that's the thing. Joe Rogan has always been liberal. It's because you guys have gone too radical. It's pretty obvious. So we pull back into moderate and progressive, new ideas, and the Democrats could reinvent themselves and do something. But maybe that's pulling Rogan back in. So they kind of view everybody as going to the extreme right without viewing themselves as having gone to the extreme left. There's so many voices, including my own. I've always seen myself as a lifelong liberal. And you got, I don't know, there's Jimmy Dore, and there's Tim Pool, to go with Russell Brand, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, Jon Stewart, Bill Maher. There's just plenty of good liberal voices, but you've rejected those. So I don't know what throwing money at this is not going to, solve your problem here. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I don't know if the Democrat Party, can they be saved at this point? It's a big mess, but it's not mine to clean up. So I don't know if they'll figure that one out. But hey, spend some more money and see if how that works out for you. I don't know what they're going to do as far as finding a voice that's going to take on their insane issues. So it's not going so well. So we'll see if they can reinvent, start over, just disband. I don't know. But anyway, let's jump topics here. So let's get back. Dems, $20 million SAM plan will solve party problems. No, they'll just waste $20 million. But whatever, it's their money. It's their donor money. I don't care what they do with it at this point. Okay, you could have paid me $2 million. I could have solved your problems. All right, that would solve my financial problem. It would be a win-win, right? There we go. All right, but let's move on. Biggest obstacle to awakening people is cognitive dissonance. That might be true. This is something I have discovered the hard way recently. Rick Norman saying, yeah, they might have to go with a celebrity candidate. It's not a bad idea. I know Stephen A. Smith is out there. That could be one of them. Or maybe they should run a Joe Rogan. What do they think of Joe Rogan? I mean, if he's not a liberal, then what is he to them? It's their own fault. These wacky Obama years that really set the party in motion to go so far to the left, they've forgotten their roots. Even the classic JFK would be considered a Tea Party extremist to them. So anyway, yeah, it's going to be a rude awakening for them, but they did it to themselves. So yeah, we shall see. Okay. As far as cognitive dissonance goes, this is something. So I guess I don't have the same issue with cognitive dissonance. This has kind of been the big miscalculation of my media career, is when I thought I could get involved in this and I can, break down news stories and analyze things and present it in a way that people can understand. You red pill somebody, you wake people up with the communication. And by showing them superior facts, logic, and information, it'll change their minds and they'll, you'll win over hearts and minds and you'll have this great awakening. It's always been that frustration. But apparently, for normal people, they have this issue called cognitive dissonance, and they actually get physically and mentally ill when presented with new information that contradicts what they want to believe. So, but that's just the way I've been wired and was unable to put that all together. But speaking of archetypes and personality types, I learned much about myself. Being this INTJ Sigma male, and I watch these weird little videos like this one. We're going to watch a clip. There's 8 strange reasons people cannot stand Sigma males. But I just want to play a piece of it because it goes into the cognitive dissonance subject. So here we go.
Reason 3, Sigmas speak their truth, brutally honest, often unapologetically. Here's a truth bomb for you. Sigma males don't sugarcoat. They're blunt, direct, and sometimes their honesty stings like a bee on a hot summer day. Unlike most people who prefer softening the truth around uncomfortable topics, Sigmas cut straight to the chase. They say what they mean and mean.
See, this has been interesting. It's been a revelation for me learning about this stuff because, you hear about archetypes, there's alpha males and beta males, and I never really fit into any particular category. But now that they have these other male archetypes, and one of them is the Sigma, which I'm going, oh, now I have one that explains what I am. So we're kind of like the introverted lone wolf types. I don't know, without getting into too much of it. But yeah, we're the kind of blunt honesty, which is a little, not everybody resonates with, but here we go. We don't mean to be mean, but that's just the way we're wired.
What they say. Why is this so fascinating? Because in everyday social settings, people tend to avoid confrontation. Gossip, half-truths, and politeness often take center stage. This helps maintain social harmony and keeps egos intact. But the Sigma male? He's a different breed. His form of transparency doesn't just ruffle feathers, it shakes the whole tree. Psychologically, this honesty can trigger discomfort in others because it shines a spotlight on their own insecurities or self-deceptions. When someone hears an unfiltered truth from a Sigma, it's like looking into a mirror that reflects all their flaws and pretenses. This mirror isn't flattering, and that can be hard to swallow. It's no surprise that people often respond defensively, sometimes with jealousy, anger, or silent contempt. Research in social psychology shows that humans have a natural tendency called cognitive dissonance, which is the mental discomfort experienced when confronted with information that contradicts their beliefs or self-image.
Yeah, okay. Well, I found the fatal flaw in my quest to wake people up when I decided to go public and start spouting all my conspiracy theories back, 2011 or so. Thinking this would be easy. We'll wake people up. You just present them facts and information that will, change their perception. We can point out the way that the media lies to them, and they'll realize, oh, okay. Because when I hear new information, I embrace it. It's a difference in the way people are wired that way. So I embrace new ideas. If people want to tell me that, it could be some just outlandish theory about anything about how reality and the world works, I want to hear it. I'm fascinated. I'm curious. For most people, they actually feel threatened by alternative information that challenges their paradigm and their worldview, and they can actually get mentally and physically uncomfortable from hearing such ideas. So that's why a lot of this stuff doesn't work, and why the normies just continue. They get into the confirmation bias, where you can tell them like, oh yeah, the media lies, and this is all the BS they did with all of the COVID lockdowns or the Russian disinformation. You can point all that out to them, but they'll never believe it, and they'll reject it and immediately go to whatever their sources are, just because it's in their comfort zone and they feel like they are with their people. Or, I don't know. It's a difficult one to. It's hard for them to process that, which is nothing I didn't know. But anyhow, let's. I actually had a conversation with Grok about this. Can you explain the physical and mental effects of cognitive dissonance? So for a regular person, this can manifest in mental and physical ways. They have anxiety and stress. So when you try to tell them about, Doge, or that Trump is actually a good guy, that the media lies, that the Democratic Party is using Biden as a puppet, it causes anxiety and stress, confusion, indecision, rationalization, self-doubt. And they have stress responses, sleep issues, fatigue, even digestive problems. And then they have coping mechanisms that they deal with that. So that is why, apparently, it is so difficult to actually win hearts and minds. Because you would think this would all be obvious by now. We could change this world in short order. Get people to realize that they've been, lied to. Mainstream media, the globalists, or the Bill Gates and the eugenicists, they're not on your side, but they don't get it. Here we go, Rick. Yes, heard the U.S. Health Department has discontinued the recommendation, yes, of the COVID. And we tried to warn about that, and we were, banned from the internet. We wanted you to wear masks that made no sense, stand 6 feet apart. We told you that the didn't come from a lab leak; it came from the wet market. So many lies, and it was so easy to debunk all that stuff. But hey, I wasn't a medical expert, so what did it matter? Just shut me down. So they would have kept this place locked down. They'd still be recommending their COVID schedule. That'd be the way that they wanted to control their reality. By getting everybody in their COVID camps, their vax passports. Total insanity. So, anywho. So when somebody's deeply held worldview, like a blue-pilled normie who trusts mainstream media, is challenged by a conflicting perspective, such as a red pill commentary from an INTJ Sigma type, cognitive dissonance kicks in hard. This clash can trigger both mental and physical responses as the brain grapples with information that threatens its established reality. So they actually have defensive rejection. This is why I get into all these flame wars, Twitter, or Facebook, or wherever, and you're like, how do people not get this? How do you continue to show them facts, information, logic, and it just never breaks through? It never reaches to them. They continue to reject it and almost double down. So sometimes it feels like a lost cause. It's very frustrating. And I guess can't tell if the music here is changing or if it's gone into static here. Okay. Anyhow. So let me give you another example here from Grok. Saying imagine a normie who watches CNN daily and believing it's objective, and they encounter somebody like me on posting on X about how the mainstream media omitting key facts in a story with links to primary sources. Initially, they'll scoff, labeling it as misinformation and to avoid engaging. Physically, their heart rate might spike during the argument and they feel tense. Mentally, they might feel irritated or confused, especially if the evidence seems credible but contradicts their trust in CNN because they're the experts. They're journalists with degrees from prestigious universities. And to cope, they might double down, seeking more MSM articles to reinforce their views, or disengage entirely to avoid the discomfort as in blocking me, per se. I've had many people do that. You start challenging that and shooting down all their arguments, and they just block you so that they can live in peace in their own head. So I had no idea. So there's the phenomenon of cognitive dissonance. I'm not equipped with it. So I just blissfully unaware all of these years of what a colossal waste of time it was in some ways. But it is fun to cover the news, and I appreciate you guys that do understand it, what I'm trying to communicate here. Yeah, the internet did save us. I would agree with that, Rick. Absolutely. It's opened everything up in other ways. Because before the internet, I couldn't really do it. Before social media and internet, the only way I could communicate is in person. I've been red pilled wide awake since the late 90s, over 25 years. So this is all passe to me, so much of it. But for other people, yeah, it's wildly threatening to their worldview. So yeah, you think the internet, or what do they say? Ignorance is a choice in the world of the internet, but not for a lot of people. They really take comfort in their reality, even if it's based on lies. It's built on lies. Maybe, but who knows? I don't know. I find it fun, but I guess they don't. Anyway, so here we are. Now we're about to witness the unraveling of our civilization mixed with AI. Anyway, so I'll get one more topic here. Let's get back to the issue. So is the biggest obstacle to awakening is cognitive dissonance? I'm going to say yeah, where it's a combination of cognitive dissonance and confirmation bias. It's not easy. thought it would be, and I failed. Have to admit, I was absolutely wrong. But, yeah, whatever. Guess it's given me purpose getting into the alternative media. But man, if I could only do it all over again. Speaking of which, that brings us to our final topic. Would be doing it all over again. Or would you take $10 million? Let me explain. Fun little meme that I saw over the weekend. Here it is. We can ask you, Rick, anybody else who wants to chime in, who's out there lurking, if you want. It's up to you. Just play along in your head. So here's the deal. Red pill, blue pill, matrix style. Red pill. Or here we go. Would you take if the blue pill and the red pill, we'll simplify it. The blue pill is you get $10 million in cash. Or would you take the red pill? Instead of the money, you get to restart your life at 6 years of age with all the knowledge that you have now. According to the guy that wrote this, he says which one are you choosing? There is only one right answer, or one right choice. I might disagree there, though. I think I think I would just take the 10 million at this point. If somebody offered me this, or would you? What would you do? Do you want to redo life again? Would you rather be 6 years old and knowing everything you know now? Because, yeah, you could make a fortune in the stock market. You'd have all the advantages. It'd be like going through life with a cheat code, right? Because that's the better to take the $10 million, or would you redo life with a cheat code? As in knowing everything you know now. You go back and you can say, oh, I can buy all the Apple stock or Yahoo or Google or Netflix, Nvidia, Bitcoin. You could set yourself up to be set for life. Make $100 million, make $10 billion. I think that's even what I said in this thing. I think I might take the 10 million though. It could be worth 10 billion, but those first 10 years are going to be rough because you're going to be 6 years old and you're going to have to go through grade school all over again. You're going to have to pretend to be just a normal kid with all of this information in your head. Would it be worth it? I don't know. I'm 47, man. So it'd be weird because going back in that days, there'd be no internet. All your TV would just be reruns, and you'd be riding a school bus for the next 10 years, or do you try to just escape the system? But how do you do that? So it seems like you'd have to play along. I don't know if that would be worth it to me. Yeah, it'd be cool in a way. Like you'd have a cheat code going back and doing life over again. And to be super rich if you wanted to. Set up all your businesses, make totally different decisions. Would it all be worth it? I don't know. I think I'd just take the 10 million and run, man. But Rick says he'd take the red pill. That's a great choice, man. There's no wrong answer. It's just, I think that first 10 or 15 years is going to be rough. And there's not that much I miss from back then. Wouldn't it be weird? Yeah, you'd have to keep that a secret. Then you wouldn't be able, how am I going to be friends with a bunch of grade school kids? It's like the Adam Sandler movie, Billy Madison. Yeah, it'd be fun for a couple of weeks. But man, for 10 years, being a little kid again, just so that in a while you'll be able to make the stock tips. You got to find an adult. I can trust my dad. I could go back. My dad was actually, funny enough, was a stockbroker during that time. So I could tell him give him all the good stock tips. Yeah, I could be rich, but would it be worth all the effort? So, okay, all right, Rick, maybe I've convinced him. Yes. There would be a sacrifice, but it would be fun, man. I mean, I would love to spend 3 years of my life as a super rich dude at 25 years old and just go travel and party and women and whatever. That would be fun, but I don't know if it would be worth all of that extra effort to do it. Or I could just take the 10 million and check out, man. I mean, life is interesting. It's been a tremendous experience no matter what. Sometimes it feels like it's a trap. It's a big prison planet, or we're here for a reason, right? Try to wake up, change hearts and minds, make the world a better place. But yeah, I've run into that problem, man. The cognitive dissonance thing really threw me off. Because even if I went back, sometimes I used to think I'll go back in time, back to 2012, redo my media career and find a different approach to waking people up. But they don't want to be woken up. That's the problem. I can come up with the most, entertaining and creative infotainment I can, but that's still not going to convince anybody. So it'd just be continuing to waste time. I don't know. I don't know what the whole purpose of this whole experiment is. I couldn't tell you. I'm not super religious, so I don't know if we were created or put here, what the purpose of life is. It's been good, but I don't know if I'd want to do it over again, knowing what I know now, even though that would be a cheat code and a huge advantage. I kind of put this one out. The great spiritual simulation. We're stranded near the edge of the galaxy and locked down in a zoo with 8 billion talking monkeys, paying taxes, funding wars, watching sports, waiting around for the next cataclysm to reset the game board again, because it goes into this whole theory that the Earth goes through a major cataclysm every 12,000 years or so. And it resets the whole game board, and we start and build civilization all over again. Maybe. I don't know. It's very interesting. So, who knows what the purpose is? To try to save souls. But if they don't want to be saved, I don't know how you force it. Or it's just like this whole experience it's like a spiritual simulation where it's a temporary human experience. I don't know. Pleasure to be here. It's been real. But man, are we in a mess, and I'm not sure how we get out of it. It's just good luck to everybody. We're gonna need it, especially with all this AI stuff, and who knows? I mean, it's great that we got Trump in. At least we kind of have a fighting chance. But even then, I don't know if we can get out of the way of the next solar flare, the next cataclysm, the next earth-wrecking disaster. And is humanity worth saving? Or have we been dumbed down, manipulated, and we're at an unfair advantage from the elites who control this time, or whatever we want to believe. If it's God and the devil, or who knows? I don't have all the answers. Not like that AI video. I don't know. We could just be in some weird civilization or weird AI simulation. But I don't have all the answers. Just trying to figure it out as we go, just like everybody else. But anyway, it's been fun. I like getting into the existential questions. It's a good time. So thank you all for listening. Great to have you, Rick. And anybody else out there lurking, listening, watching the replay, please like and subscribe. We'll continue to roll these broadcasts until the end of civilization. All this good stuff. All right, got to. It's like documenting. It's like documenting this crazy society, the greatest reality show in the galaxy. So anyway. Been fun. Thank you all. And yeah, we'll try to do this again Thursday. I don't know about as far as, I guess, a set schedule. I'm trying to keep it Tuesday, Thursday. Kind of depends on what's going on, and sometimes my life gets in the way and I get thrown around, but I will continue to do broadcasts, and I appreciate your support. Thank you very much, Rick and everybody. Good times. And I don't know if there's going to be a Toxically Masculine Tuesday show tonight. I think that has been postponed, unfortunately, but hopefully we'll be back next week. But we'll continue pumping out content. So anyway, that's all I've got. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and maybe we'll see you guys on Thursday and see what what's in the news cycle. So thank you all. I am out.